Hello everybody, we want to welcome y'all to this year's special Christmas edition of Southern Woods and Waters. I am obviously joined by all the guys today, and we're looking forward to a great show we're going to be putting together for you tonight. But obviously we want to just start out by telling everyone Merry Christmas. It's so glad to have you guys with us. And you know, we're sitting at an awesome place today, aren't we?
Awesome.
I've got to mention that first of all. I know you're wondering this beautiful place we're sitting in. We're at the Circle P Ranch in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. We want to be sure we say thank you to them and Mr. Rufus Page for having us out here. What a wonderful location, and getting to sit in front of this beautiful stove here. We might even give a little history on that later on.
The history.
But guys, joined by faces here that you definitely recognize right now. I've got Mike Adams with me here to my right, and Richard Kirby and Randall Haley down here on the end. And you know, these guys have been with us for a long time now. All of them have. And we've done a lot of different things this year and a lot of different shows. And what we want to do today is just recap a lot of that stuff and let you guys, know what some of our favorite ones were. So, in getting that started, I've decided Mr. Adams is going to be my first one here today. But, Mike, we have filmed lots of different things this year. We have been to expos. We have done fishing trips. We have done hunting trips. But looking back through the year, what do you think stands out to you?
Well, there are so many because we have done so many this year, and so many were just absolutely just mind-blowing, some of the people we've met and some of the people we've seen. But I have to admit, probably my favorite one was the Bass Nation Nationals. That was just walking around with all the boats that had pulled up. $1 billion worth of boats sitting there for those 16 and 17-year-olds.
And about $1 billion worth of tackle there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was all of that. But the big thing I thought about it, and I know that we're in more states than Tennessee, but it is Southern Woods and Waters. Out of that top 12, we had 4 teams represented from Tennessee, and Tennessee took 1. That's incredible. It's the first time that Tennessee has won it. And all the nationals have always been held in Tennessee. And this was the first time in Dayton on Chickamauga, where Chickamauga, you can be behind 6 pounds and make a cast and be ahead by 3 pounds.
That's right. Real quick.
So that was good, and it was exceptionally hot, as Richard will attest. It was very hot. But we had a great time. We just saw so many people, and it was, I don't know, it's just my favorite. Now, I am the fisherman. I like fish, so that made a point to me, too. But some of the deer hunts we've been on this year and some of the kids' deer hunts.
That's the best.
The Hope Outdoors, I mean, those videos, the thing that you guys did last year with the hammer hitting the
took Austin Stokes out, and that was a great hunt. We're looking forward to doing that again here in just a few weeks.
Absolutely. And we're doing the warrior hunt this year down in Alabama. So there's so many things that you trigger off of last year and say, what can I do better? I don't think it gets better.
It's we've
just
lived
great.
A full schedule. I tell you that. I mean, we've been somewhere
season after
season, weekend after weekend. But I think one of the Bass Nation is probably one of the biggest as far as us traveling around and doing different things like we do. I've got to say a big, huge shout out to Jake Davis and to David Lowry, Jennifer Lasser, Jody Lasser. There's a lot of them I'm sure I'm missing too, but the time and dedication that these directors and these coaches and these boat captains put in for these kids. And like you said, Mike, you're down there and you have hundreds of kids, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning and they're chipper and they're,
I think it was 309 boats.
Yes,
I think is what it was, 309. And they launched like that, and it was just an amazing sight to see all that it was. And you mentioned Jody. I failed to say thank you, Jody. The feelings coming back in my hands. We had a pretty good boat ride, and
from your white knuckle experience in the boat.
And most of the time, Richard had his back to the front, so he was lucky.
Well, Randall, what do you think, buddy? You've done a lot of things with us this year, and we've, of course, you're always along on the dove hunt. You come and do a lot of shows with us, and I know as far as informative shows, if I want someone to come in and give some great information, you are usually who I call. But is there any particular shows this year? You know that's coming, didn't you?
Yeah, the legend.
The legend, But is there anything that kind of stands out to you this year that we've done?
It don't, because every time I do something, with y'all, it's special. It don't matter what it is. It's right here special.
Yeah.
Everything, so.
We have a big time. There's no doubt about it. I know that we've had a lot of memories this year. I don't think there's any that stands out to me more than the day we spent on the river together, down on the Piney River. That was a lot of fun. We had a great trip down there, and we was all wore out. I think Richard's still suffering from that trip, you know. But what a great trip it was. You know, what a great trip it was. And that was actually, looking back on the year, we were there the very weekend before the big floods hit.
That's right.
And we had taken a picture that Larry Woody put in the newspaper of Randall and I standing there holding fish. And where we were that day, it was 8 inches deep in water. Okay, you can see we're standing there, and it's not even up to our calves. And it was 32 feet the next weekend. Isn't that correct? Where we were standing.
Bridge there, yeah.
So just incredible to have been down there on that river and seen all of that. You know, right ahead of the historic flooding, which was another event that Tennessee's endured and stepped up and pushed.
It's still in the news.
That's right. It's still in the news now.
Yeah.
That's been great times. And Richard, man, you have done just. I mean, you know,
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere.
You're
all
a
the
road
time.
warrior.
But what kind of stands out to you?
Well, we've covered all lakes in Tennessee this year. And then my favorite, though, is that dove hunt that we've had this year. Bubba really put it together good. You know, put it together good.
That's who he's talking about. Bubba always
And
puts
you
on great
eat
shoes.
well at Bubba's before you dove hunt.
Yeah.
So if you left Bubba's hungry, that was your fault.
Yeah.
That's right. And if you left with an empty sack of birds, that was your fault. I'm not saying we didn't have a few that left a little light on birds, but it wasn't because they wasn't shooting.
Right.
Let's put it that way. There was plenty of shooting.
Yours at a place you had fixed up, that was great because everybody had so much room.
It is.
And I had, you know, my daughter and my son-in-law out there with me.
And that was his first dove hunt, wasn't it?
Yes, and
He's been ready to go back ever since.
he has because he didn't know what a choke was, and so he had a straight barrel. Of course, when you shoot with a straight barrel shotgun, it just scatters.
Yeah, but you're good for 10 feet anyway.
Yeah, 10 feet.
10 or 15 feet. Yeah, they had a great time that day, and that's always some of my favorites too. It's not at all, and we say this all the time, but it's the absolute truth, but it's not at all about the doves. We've had some great shoots before. This year we were blessed, and we had some great shoots. But we've been to some bummers before too,
Yes.
you know, and still had a great time.
Had a great time.
It's all about the camaraderie and just getting together out there at those shoots and the food. Bubba and Chad C and a lot of those guys.
Well, a great
man,
fellowship, and you
they
meet
put it
people
on.
at those, and you continue to talk to those people as the year goes by.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
they
so-
become
walk
friends
up to you.
forever.
You know,
Yeah.
when I've got the camera set up, they walk up to you and say, "Hey, how have you been? You know,
Yeah.
you doing good?"
I mean, it usually always brings more attention than a hit does, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually at our dove hunts, if you got one, you got lucky. So
Well, I like Jack's theory. My buddy Jack, his theory is if he can fill that empty box of shotgun shells up with doves, he did pretty good.
He did pretty good.
You know, and I think he came up with 2.5 doves is what it took for that. So that's all right. You know, that's a pretty good average there. But no, I do agree with you, Richard. I think the dove shoots are some of the very best things that we get out and do every year, just because of the camaraderie of it and the fact that we all get together as a big group and have such a big time. We eat good, and
and
that's
then
what it's all about.
on the other side, the worst thing that happened to me this year, I was out with Mr. Lassiter on the boat because he was my captain for the day. And we were just cruising along, and all of a sudden the bottom fell out of the sky. And I'm stuffing the camera up under my jacket. I'm covered up, and he's looking for the nearest boat ramp, or boat dock.
You know, people a lot of times don't understand the misadventures that we get into a lot of times. That's part of it. We've dealt with a lot of rain and bad weather situations. We've dealt with freezing weather. We have dealt with smothering hot weather. You know, it's a lot of fun, and it's a blessing to do what we do, but it's a lot of work sometimes.
But there are never any
It's a lot of
bloopers.
work. Oh, never
Never any bloopers.
Never any bloopers. You know, I've had requests for blooper shows to get some blooper shows going, and I think we could probably.
That'd
put a
be
couple
several
together
weeks
for
worth
people.
of
I
blooper
think it'll
shows.
take a little while to get all that edited out because, you know, it's always something going on. This past week, you know, with that show with Bubba, for example, that is just part of what we deal with every day.
Yeah.
You know, he has his camera set up, the deer comes by him, he draws his bow back, and when he does, he hits the camera with his bow when he draws. You know, he has no idea. So now the camera's facing the sky, and when he shoots, it takes a 20-foot fall to the ground, you know. But you know, we air that stuff because that's how it really happens.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
We don't just go out there and a buck just walks out in the field and there he is and we shoot him and everything's great.
Right.
And you know, it just don't work that way.
Our trips are real because I've had people ask me that before. So how do you guys go? You get somebody scouting for you and all that? No, it's most of the time it's us.
Yeah,
just us.
Usually on our places or friends' places,
Mm-hmm.
public land. Randall, you hunt a lot of public land. You do a lot of public land hunting, and you and I are going to be doing some here in just a few weeks. So looking forward to that. But Tennessee has a vast amount of
It
public,
does. You just
does.
public waters and public
Look it
land
up.
that you
Yep.
can hunt. You
It
just
does.
got to look into it, do your research, and figure
Get
it
your
out.
permits.
And
Yep.
you know, us catering to the kids too, it's a great place for Tennessee with all the public land, all the public waters. That's how you can get those kids out and get them on the water in the
My
woods.
grandson and your son, and they get out and play. And
Oh, they have such a big
Yeah, yeah.
getting out
And,
there.
and that's where it starts.
It is.
Yeah.
That's where it all starts. And I tell you, one of my favorites this past year, and we aired them just a few weeks ago, but that was definitely taking chance in Emery hunting. My daughter Emery, she's hunted with me since she was 3 years old, and my buddy, his son Chance, so we're trying to get him his first deer, and we stayed after him for a few weeks, did a lot of filming back and forth, and this past year, you know, we finally got him one the day before Christmas. It was on Christmas Eve this past year, and we didn't run it until just a few weeks ago, you know. But those times, those days, and all those hours spent, you know, were
And
worth.
you never hear him complain.
Never hear
He's
him
got
complain.
all the confidence in the
and
world. as a
and
young
now
man.
he's, you know, it's all he wants to do. He wants to get out and go hunting all the time.
Hey, those young kids teach us some things, some
Hey,
too, I
they
promise
teach us
you.
a lot of things, a lot of times. But guys, just, you know, again, thank y'all so much for being a part of the show, doing all that y'all do.
No, it's awesome.
You know, I'm just the host here. It's you guys that keep all this running all the time, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, I have to mention one thing that we did the other day that was one of my favorites too. And it wasn't in the field. He filmed it himself. And we're talking about the young kids. Parker Van Treese.
Man,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
something else. Isn't it?
That was incredible.
awesome.
He made that bow, and then he started talking to us about these limbs are 10,000ths of an
Yeah,
inch
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. And then somebody called in, and I think Richard texted me while my phone was laying there. He said, "How does he sight?" And Parker's 17, 18 years old. He said, "Well, I just hit what I
hit
aim
what
at."
he-
He's one of those instinctive shooters. But that again, that's one of those young kids that I think Southern Woods and Waters had a lot of. Yeah, and he puts his practice in, no doubt. But
Thank
wow.
you guys so much. Again, I really appreciate what you